Samsung do have history of 4 years in SDK, but still it is evolving, and you can say um, the documentation for the each and every API is still kind of premature, and they doesn't have mostly for the few of the APIs. I won't say for the everything, because the Korean people, they are basically working on the core development. So until and unless the Korean team doesn't provide the documentation, it is very hard to translate Koreans in English, and so that it can publish.
So the problem is translating Korean to English.
That is one of the reasons. That is not
That's
the
one of the
only
issues,
reason.
yeah.
Yeah, that is not the only reason. So my agenda for this presentation is I'll talk a little bit about IME, then the player, very little about the HTML5, and Flash with AS 3.0, and I'll give you a little bit more detail about the application process, the post-development process once you upload your application on SDF website. SDF is Samsung D forum. When you upload your app on Samsung D forum, what are the process involved, and what are the, you can say, the situation where you need to be a little bit careful, or you have to provide some inputs. So, like any other development SDK, this Samsung SDK provides you a complete IDE, Eclipse based. Now it is Eclipse based. Earlier it was having, the Samsung had its own SDK, own IDE. So with all integrated features, debugger, ATT, semantics, and all, and the obviously the emulator. When a user starts development and he has an idea that he will take input from the user, he need an input editor, and IME is the Samsung input editor. So basically there are two kinds of IME available with the Samsung SDK. One is JS based and another one is Flash based. So for these two, the documentation is on Samsung D forum, but I will say that how you can use it. In complete detail is available in that website. So input can be provided in the two ways, two formats, you can say, the text and the password. Text will be visible to the user, password will be masked with asterisk or the star, and it also comes with the D9 feature. This is very basic stuff, so all those who are planning to start development with the Samsung SDK, especially for the smart TV, this is more useful to them, all those developers. So to include this plugin, IME plugin, the very first thing needed is this one. In the index.html file, which is the entry point of your application, you need to include this. Then once you have included this plugin, you need an object of IME. So this is how you will create an object of it. This is the language which this IME will show by default. Here it is English, you can provide Korean, or in some cases Chinese, or whatever is the required input. It can be mentioned here, and then register IME key, and this is how you can have an IME to use. Few of the main functions, I will say. This IME says how to initialize your object. These are the parameters. As I say, this is the language, IME language code to use. Then get input object, get an input from the IME object. Like this is the class IME, and here we are developer can get input from the any object. Then this is the callback function for each time when a key gets pressed, that set any key function. This is the another you can say the function for this very same kind of activity. Set a callback function when that will be called when a specific key is pressed. Earlier any key pressed, now you need to provide the key code, which is key code of the remote, a specific button of the remote, and then the function. This is set key pad position to provide a position of the IME which will be displayed on the screen. I'm just explaining what are the APIs available. And so once you go through the articles available on the Samsung D forum, you can get more details about it. So just to save the time, I'm explaining just what are the APIs available. And the set inter function, this will be when inter key pressed, which is basically we use for providing the focus. If there is a text box and from where it will start, that we call this function. Then maximum length function, this is to restrict what is the length of the input. Then on complete function, this is for once a character has been completed or the provided, and later on what action can be taken. This is to block spaces. Then the set string is character string to display in the input box. And this is how say in our index.html file, this is the form ID, text box with no constraint. This is just a plain. This is just how it look like when you write code for it. ID is the password. If the ID is password and the type is password, then the character which will be given will be masked with the stars. And here is the maximum, and this is the maximum, and we are restricting it with the size 10. Size 5. This is the max length. Now just a brief intro about the video player, especially the JavaScript video player. To create a sample video player, like the basic structure suggests, we need an HTML file, index.html as an entry point of the application, JavaScript to control the events, CSS for the styling, and the Ajax to make any you can say the call for the data, what we get from the server side. Server is the nothing but from where you have kept your video contents. So these are the four major things which is needed, and this is the basic, you can say, the architecture. So main.js, this is the file which controls everything. On the TV there will be two plugins. One is player, another one for the audio, and in the graphics section this is nothing but the there is a I will show you the basic how the application look like in the SDK. So these are nothing but the classes: the player.js, audio.js, main.js, server.js, data.js, and the display.js. And these are the classes which communicates in this way to give you a video player on the screen. These are the big major functions which is provided: play, pause, resume, stop, then get duration, that's how long that video is, jump backward, jump forward, then set initial buffer, pending buffer, buffer size, back speed, playback. These are few of the major functions. Then these kind of triggers get these kind of events get triggered when we use players. On buffering start, once the buffering gets started, what action need to be taken? Saying buffering in progress, buffering completed, on connection failed, like if connection has been made to server and got failed. So while developing a video player, we need to take care of these events. In the index.html file, we need to include this plugin for the audio module, Samsung InfoLink audio. And the functions supported by this audio plugin is get output device, system mute, user mute, get volume, set system mute, set user mute, and set volume with key. And there is no event triggered with this audio plugin. So CSS, images, JavaScript files, videos. I have put local videos with this. And in the XML, if you are getting videos from a different source or a different URL, these two plugins, player and audio, has been included in the index.html, and the major files which will control and provide all the mechanism of this video player: audio, data, display, main.js, player, and the server. You can get this sample application on the Samsung D forum. And if you play this, the only change I have made on this application is I have provided local video instead of I'm getting it from the another server. In this application, a user has to specify this display area to display his video, and I have provided event handling for these play different buttons that play, pause, and forward. So the only change I made on this sample application, I provided local video, nothing else. So if you will download it from the Samsung D forum, with the keeping all these things in mind that provide the plugins for the player and the video, rest of thing will be working fine. Prior to this HTML file, developer has to provide all these code changes, like include plugin and provide information in all those files: player, display, main.js, everything. With the help of HTML5, we can just use a video tag and provide the source code, source of the video, that from where it will fetch, and then rest of things has been handled by the HTML file. Look at this. This is the video tag. In the previous example, I was showing many files that need to be modified or need to be written in a new way so that your application can work. Here, include this video tag in your index.html, and you can able to run a video on your simple sample application or whatever the application you are planning to develop. Apart from in Samsung SDK, right now this video tag, audio, and the canvas, these three are the major tags which from the HTML5 which is being used. Apart from the number of attributes HTML5 is providing, like article, commands, details, summary. Means all these tags can be used from the HTML5 in your application, but for the TV application prospect, canvas, video, and the audio, these three are the major tags which are being used. This is how the canvas ID can be canvas tag can be used. This is basically this canvas tag used to draw graphics for your applications, and but the funny thing is it doesn't have its own drawing abilities. So it acts like as a container, but this get context method returns an object that provides method and the properties for the drawing on the canvas. So canvas is a continuum, it's kind of about the flash and the action. As in Samsung SDK, we can create three different types of applications: JavaScript based, Flash based, and some basic applications. So in Flash based, the prerequisite is like you need to have the Flash player installed in your system, then a CSS 5.5 at least, so that the player can work on your emulator at least on the system, and on the TV definitely all the prerequisite software or the platform is available. So if you want to test or if you want to develop an application on Flash, you need to have CSS 5.5 and this Flash player. And in Flash, basically few of the formats, video file formats which are supported are AVI, MOV. These are the formats which is supported. These are the graphic files which are supported: SWF, FXG, PNG, JPG, GIF. Then this is the audio files, audio file formats, and these are the different type of file formats which are supported on the Flash. On the Flash, for